How's it going?
What's up? What's up?
Welcome back. Had a
Yeah,
little sabbatical.
yeah, we did. So what's all been going on?
Well, we went out west there to Seattle and took one of them boats up there to Alaska. We stopped by a 200-year-old Russian cemetery. And we ate some crabs and took a train ride up there at Skagway and stopped by the saloon there and hit another saloon in Juneau. Had some duck fart shots and went on over to Victoria, British Columbia, and checked a big garden out over there and went by a big haunted place. I'd like to go back, and they say it's probably the most haunted place up there in British Columbia. I'd like to go back there sometime and stay there. That's where we've been on a trip. Come on.
Yeah.
We tried to squeeze a little paranormal investigating in there. Did the Seattle Underground tour. That was pretty cool.
Awesome. All right, well, let's go ahead and get things kind of kicked off.
Got some supernatural news there, do you, Vinny?
After hearing what could only be described as a judgment trumpet coming from outside while the storm is wailing, he tries to calm his daughter by telling her it's okay.
It's okay, baby.
But then he captures something even more bizarre. An unidentified flying object whips past his balcony. Whatever this thing was, it was going in the opposite direction of the wind at crazy insane speeds. And to make it even more frightening, immediately after the object flies by, another loud sound comes from the sky. So how do you explain this? What was the object flying by their balcony? And what were the sounds coming from the sky outside from within the storm? Let me know your thoughts. A woman with the username Shondaland Store captured something extremely eerie at 3:30 a.m. outside of her apartment in Houston, Texas.
It's a weird sound been going off for like every minute or so.
An extremely loud, bass-heavy roar could be heard every minute or two, filling the entire night sky, and it went on for nearly 2 hours.
What do you think there? We got.
Well, the videos were cutting out. I couldn't really tell there. The first one, I think, was the one with the storm and the whatever it was, UFO went flying by, but it was, for some reason, it was maybe the spirits are messing with our feed or something, or the aliens. It was cutting out
Instantly,
a little bit.
when I saw it, I was thinking trash bag. But then he does bring up a good point in it. You know, it is going the opposite way of the wind. You can see the trees going the opposite direction.
Is there any way you can play it again? Because it was cutting completely out on my end. I don't know if we can try
Yep,
it
I
again.
sure can.
Okay, baby.
After hearing what could only be described as a judgment trumpet coming from outside while the storm is wailing, he tries to calm his daughter by telling her it's okay.
It's okay, baby.
But then he captures something even more bizarre. An unidentified flying object whips past his balcony. Whatever this thing was, it was going in the opposite direction of the wind at crazy insane speeds. And to make it even more frightening, immediately after the object flies by, another loud sound comes from the sky. So how do you explain this? What was the object flying by their balcony? And what were the sounds coming from the sky outside from within the storm? Let me know your thoughts. A woman with the username Shondaland Store captured something extremely eerie at 3:30 a.m. outside of her apartment in Houston, Texas.
It's a weird sound been going off for like every minute or so.
An extremely loud, bass-heavy roar could be heard every minute or two, filling the entire night sky, and it went on for nearly 2 hours.
I'm not sure what was going on there, Benny. Both of them, there was like two videos together, and they was the one we saw it earlier with the thing flying by. When we played it just now, it was like stopping and freezing and stuff. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, I don't know. It's not freezing up on mine.
Oh, it's completely freezing on my end. Like I couldn't even see the whole video. I don't know.
we won't ponder on it too long.
Yeah.
So it is pretty neat. You know, you hear the sound like the what people are saying is trumpets. They're hearing, you know, kicking off Revelation, going from the biblical standpoint.
Yeah, all around the world, people are experiencing all kind of weird activity, like that. Whatever that was, it's like it was going the opposite way of the wind. It was hauling ass. Like the shape of it was like kind of like a big elongated football or something. It was black. It was just like. Phew.
It definitely looked weird. Which was a good, you know, it's a good video for us to kind of kick off and start with today because, you know, we're mainly talking about. Why don't you go ahead and tell them? Let's talk about the psychics and what's kind of going on in the world today.
Yeah, they're different psychics that I've talked to, and a couple of different programs I've looked at. They're getting in the information. Normally, they just get like spirits coming through, channeling and whatever. And now they're getting like these entities talking to them that claim to be alien. And it says they're coming. The one lady, she's came on twice saying there's supposed to be a bunch of alien craft coming here the 14th and the 15th of September. And she said, I normally always say anything I hear, I don't hold back. She goes, people might think I'm crazy, but I'm going to go ahead and communicate what I'm being told. She don't know where it's coming from or anything, but the message she got was they're coming, and it's supposed to be a mission of peace and happiness, and they're not real happy with the state of things here on Earth, and they're kind of coming try to help mankind, and I don't know. We'll see. But she also said not everyone can hear them, and not everyone's going to be able to see them either.
Of course, not everyone can hear them.
That's how it usually goes, right?
Because I was going to say, I'm kind of bummed. I didn't see any aliens today.
I was looking for them. I went out last night looking around. I think it was just the planet Jupiter I was seeing.
Well, we got a couple videos. Let's roll those. So I guess what this first one is, the psychic that you're talking about. She does the videos and stuff on her page. And
yeah.
Okay, so a couple of days ago, I posted a video that is exploding all over TikTok right now about the possible incoming of lots of alien spacecraft on September 14th and 15th. Listen, I know how this sounds. I don't even know if I believe it. Hi, my name is Candace, and I am a psychic medium and an energetic healer, and I do channeling. This is beyond anything that I've ever channeled before. The way that this happened was unlike any other channel that I've had in my entire life. And I do this work professionally. The information that I received, I have no idea if it's real. I have no idea if this is an actual event that is going to happen. Some of you on here are saying, well, if you're a medium and this is your profession, then how come you're questioning it? Because I'm human and this is bananas. And I think it's healthy to be skeptical about what you're receiving instead of just blindly trusting everything. I don't blindly trust. I don't know the truth. I don't know if it's actually going to happen. But I was told in that channel that I needed to share it. And I didn't want to share it. God knows I didn't want to share it. But I did what I was told, just being a good little channeler, and I shared it, and there it is, and we'll have to see. I'm excited too. I want to know, like, are they actually going to show up? Are you going to make me look like a liar? I do a much better job explaining what happens when they show up, though, on my podcast, Awakening Souls podcast. So if you want to hear more about that in better detail, go check it out. You can find that podcast just about anywhere. And if you see a UFO, post it. I need to know, because I was told I wasn't going to see it. Go figure, right?
Well, I guess at least I'm not the only one that doesn't get to see it, I guess.
Yeah.
Phil, what are you phoning so much about?
What's that?
What are you phoning so much about?
The videos are freezing up on my end. I was going to try to play it on my phone to see if it's just my feed or if it's, what's going on. Like that.
So what do you think
video
about the girl there?
Well, that's what I was saying. It's freezing up on my end the whole time. I didn't get to finish the video. That's why I was trying to pull it up on my phone to see if it's just me or if there's really something. Looks like Patrick Duncan's saying he has a little bit of an echo, but I don't see anybody else having that problem. It might just be my internet.
Yeah, the echo's coming through because I can hear the echo. It's coming through your speakers, those speakers.
Yeah.
We have set up.
You want me to turn it down a little bit?
Yeah, we can cut it down a little bit. Don't cut it down to where you can't hear nothing, but that's what your echo is.
Okay.
You still hear everything?
Loud and clear. Yeah, I hear you loud and clear. It's always something technical.
You're right.
I think the spirit's messing with us.
So the psychic lady thinks that, or she says that we're going to get these visits and we're going to see them.
She's came on twice saying that, and she had like a follow-up. That was the one video we were looking at was a follow-up, and she was saying that she's never heard from anything like that before, and they basically said there's going to be spacecraft coming on the 14th and 15th, and they're going to be arriving all around the planet, but they're supposed to be here like on a mission of peace, and maybe they're worried some stuff's getting ready to pop off with all you got Russia and Ukraine and Israel and Iran and North Korea and all that. Any of those guys could stir up something. So I think they're concerned.
Things are definitely stirred up.
Yeah, they don't want mankind to basically kill off everybody.
And if everybody can just kind of bear with us on the technical issues and stuff. But some things came up today, so I couldn't actually go into the studio. Next week, we'll be back together in the studio, which kind of seems to cut out some of these technical issues that we seem to have when we do it in two different locations.
Yeah. I can hear you and you can hear me. It's just when the video plays, the videos were freezing up on me. I don't know why. I don't know if they were freezing up on your end. Were they playing on your end?
Yeah, everything's playing smooth on my end. And then I have the feed going too on the background TV, and I'm not seeing it.
Okay, it's just my wonderful Spectrum internet.
Let's check this out. We'll go to the next one. So these next couple of videos, if the video feeds are freezing up on anybody else, tune in there and let us know so we kind of know what's going on. So we just don't play a long video if it's just speeding up. Kind of pointless on that end.
Yeah.
So we'll go with the shorter one first, and we'll kind of see what's going on.
Hey guys, check out this amazing video of what looks like some type of being walking back and forth on some clouds in South America. Now here's the deal, guys. I watched the video a couple of times. The video is going viral all over YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, Instagram. Like, everybody's sharing this video. It's definitely going viral. Here's the deal, guys. I looked at the video and you could tell there's really something up there in the clouds. Now, a lot of people were saying this could possibly be some type of UFO, huge spacecraft that's cloaking itself, becoming invisible. And the being that's walking on it is also using that same technology to become invisible. So basically, you know, it's just a being walking on a spaceship. That's what people are saying. Whatever this is, guys, it is extremely interesting to see something like this, because I've never seen a video like this before. What could this be? Comment below, guys. Don't forget to repost my video, support my page.
It's definitely my internet because I'm watching it play on my phone.
So what was that? It does look like someone's walking around up there.
Yeah, yeah.
That was crazy. Is anybody else on here see anything? Or?
It's pretty wild. Like it walked back and forth.
Yeah, I try to think of what like the scientific explanation of it could be, but I really have no idea.
I don't even know what could project something on a cloud in the daylight. Like nighttime, they do spotlights, you know, and I've seen like when you go to a car show or, you know, like a car sale, they'll have like, or a movie opening, they'll have those big spotlights. You can see them on the clouds and stuff, but not in the daytime. Not something like, and it was almost like, it was like being projected, but it was on top of the cloud. Like it was just like walking back and forth. Like,
and it looked like it had a glow.
Yeah.
I don't know about that. That one's kind of weird. All right, check this one out.
Footage begins with a peaceful scene of his wife and 2 children sleeping in bed. Suddenly, something unexpected happens. Take a look.
It looked like something snatched that little kid, like trying to drag him out of the bed.
Well, you get a lot of. I don't know what I really think about them all, but you get a lot of videos, and it seems like it'll be videos of people laying in bed and stuff like that, and it's always pulling to let.
Yeah, unless somebody tied a string on that toddler and tried dragging him out of there, I don't know. It looked pretty scary.
Hold on, I'm gonna run it again so I can really.
Footage begins with a peaceful scene of his wife and 2 children sleeping in bed. Suddenly, something unexpected happens. Take a look.
It looked like something grabbed him by his foot and just like jerked him out of there.
Yeah, I don't know. That was pretty weird. So as you know, we like to kind of mix and throw different things in there.
We've dealt with a couple cases where people are being grabbed when they're trying to sleep like that, and it gets pretty weird when even like if somebody's being grabbed like that, and then the only thing that makes it stop is they start praying. That's when sometimes you got to bring in some clergy to help out. That's not a normal, like somebody's got something, a spirit in their house making a noise or whatever, something grabbing a hold of you in the middle of the night and trying to drag you out of the bed. That'd be terrifying.
Yes, you are correct. All right, I watched this one earlier.
Right. Sitting on the back of the plane. Y'all probably think I'm insane. Probably think I'm doing this for fame.
Zoomed in and slowed down, you can see the seatbelt unlock and throw itself off the chair.
But see, my only issue with that one, I watched it a few times earlier. So if you watch it at the very end, the seatbelt flies off the side, right? But then at the end of the seatbelt kind of does that. So it makes me think somebody's on the other side definitely got a string there, and they pulled that off. As you can see, it tilts it at the very end. Looks like it drags again.
They got some 12-pound test spider wire or something over there and a fishing pole, and they'd be yanking it a little bit.
It's got to be something. Look, now that I told you that, check out the end of it. Watch it.
Right. Sitting on the back of the plane. Y'all probably think I'm insane. Probably think I'm doing this for fame.
Zoomed in and slowed down, you can see the seatbelt unlock and throw itself off the chair.
Did you see at that time how it kind of looked like it pulls out and then it lets go?
Yeah. Kind of shoots out there and does one of these, then it flops.
Yeah. For me, that seems like it's just something's tied to it.
And he never shines his camera to the right, ever, to show his buddy over there with the fishing pole.
All right, we'll do a little break. Your favorite thing.
Oh. We call this the paranormal paramoo. And if a spirit or any kind of Indian one comes around and ring the cowbell, then we know something's around. And just in case we don't have enough cowbell, we got more cowbell down here.
Guess what? I got a fever. And the only prescription is more cowbell.
I could have used a little more cowbell. I could have used a little more cowbell.
Gotta have a little more cowbell, come on.
That's one of your inventions you make that we'll take out on investigation. Still hasn't gone off. Definitely want it to go off. That'll be the most exciting night I think that we've had going out of anything is that thing going off. In case anybody knows, everybody kind of how it works or why, what was the thought process in making that?
Well, just I'm always trying to get stuff that the spirit can manipulate that's not electronic. And I've got little tiny things, but I'm like, what if they can move something a little bit bigger? So, cowbell, And then I was thinking about the whole Saturday Night Live skit. I love that skit with Christopher Walken and the cowbell. So I was like, well, if we're going to have cowbell, we got to have more cowbell. So we'll give them two different bells to manipulate. I've also designed it with like flat surfaces so I can put other instruments and different things on top of it. So you could have like a little station there and you got your cowbells, you can put your rim pods, your cat balls, you can put everything in one station, which helps me at the end of the night when I go to pick up everything. If I can put it all in one cluster in one contained spot, so I'm not running all over looking for a recorder and a cat ball over here and a rim pod over there, and then I get about halfway home and like, oh man, did I pick up that recorder or not? And then if you got some people helping you, then you're like, okay, did somebody else pick it up? And I've left recorders at places and had to go back and get them. So it kind of helps to have a little station like that. Put it, and you need a flat surface, because some of my stuff I have, if it's in wet grass or something, it falls over, you'll get a false positive. You'll think it's a spirit's coming around, and it's just your stuff fell over in the wet grass. I've had that happen.
Yeah, and anybody that's watching, it's not just about the videos that we're showing or the stories or the guests that we have on here. If you have any questions about any kind of paranormal investigations or the tools or anything like that, we'd be happy to answer that too. I mean, I'm not saying by any means that we're experts. I don't think nobody can really be an expert in it, because it's continuously learning on it.
Right.
And we kind of go, we're kind of the same on that. We kind of go into these looking like we want to see something. We want it to be real, but we tend to kind of look for more of an explanation first before we'll dive in. We don't really get all hot. We've been with investigative teams and stuff like that now with people, and every little nook, cranny, anything that they can hear bump, they're freaking out. It's a ghost. It's a ghost.
Like, hate to tell you, it's the air conditioner.
Right.
Or it's a tree limb blowing on the house. I've had that happen before, and they're like, something's scratching. It's scratching on the house. And I go out there, and the air conditioner kicks on, and the bushes are like blowing on the house. Had that happen before.
It was just like that house we went to and stuff, where instantly we kind of found out what that was, just because I see it in my line of work, my occupation. I see this happen, and that was. She was hearing footsteps, every night around the same time, 7, 8 o'clock at night, upstairs. She lives by herself. What it was she had brand new hardwood floors with no AC, no humidity control upstairs. So what happens with that hardwood, it bows up when it gets hot through the day, and then as it starts cooling, it's going to pop back down.
Yeah,
it's going to go down in sections, so it'll sound like somebody's walking above you.
It was a 2-story house, and she had 2 AC units, one for upstairs and one for downstairs. The upstairs unit was not functioning, so she just had the downstairs unit running, and she just stayed downstairs all the time. Well, the upstairs was hot as hell, so what happens is certain times of day and night, if it does get a little cooler outside or whatever, you've got a thermocline going on there. You've got that air conditioner's trying to cool the whole bottom of that house, and then you got the hot air coming down from the upstairs. So you got expansion, contraction, and humidity stuff going on like crazy in that house. And I don't think there was anything paranormal going on in that house. But, the lady was glad we came out and give her peace of mind that it's not anything paranormal. But if you didn't know any better, you just sit there and think something's walking around. You're upstairs. You're like, what the hell? That's, we like to come out and help with stuff like that.
Right. So. And don't veer away too. We just don't instantly jump to, it's not true or there's nothing there or something like that. We really will take our time and kind of dig into it. Because trust me, I know a lot of people want to see something, but I know over the last 3 years we've been fully devoted and we want to see something.
We try to debunk everything if possible and rule out everything, because a lot of times there is a logical explanation. And if people get inside their own head, they get freaked out, get paranoid. But to them, it's very real. It's very terrifying. It's when we get some kind of weird evidence that we can't explain. That's when we're like, okay, maybe there is something going on here. 90% of it's explainable, but that 10%, there's a gray area. And then every once in a while, we'll get something really weird happen that we're like, okay, can't explain that. That's in that 1%.
And I know we kind of went off there of it, but the point of that little thing was, if anybody's got any questions, you want to know any kind of like these tools or anything that you see on TV and stuff, we'd be happy to kind of share our knowledge that we've learned over it. And, it's all about understanding and educating.
Yeah, like if you're having something weird going on in your house, you want us to come check it out, we'll come check it out. We don't charge or anything like that. We just want to try to see if there's something really going on there, because we're learning, and the more you investigate, the more you learn about what could or could not really be going on in somebody's house, and and then to get the clergy out there, sometimes we have to stay in touch with these people, and we may do 2 or 3 visits ourselves and gather a lot of evidence. The clergy won't just come out. If you think something's going on in your house, like, hey, can the priest come out? A lot of times they want to make sure there's not a mental illness, there's not any kind of other external, things that could be introduced that could be causing that. Like, are they drinking heavy? Are they taking any kind of drugs or anything like that? Sometimes they want a mental evaluation. Some priests will, before they'll even come out, because they want to make sure you're just not crazy or off your meds or schizophrenic. Or a lot of people that are hearing stuff talking to them, they think they're schizophrenic, or the psychiatrists think they're schizophrenic. And then when they go through all the testing and they find out, okay, there's no medicine's going to help this guy. They're really hearing something, and then that's when you fall into a whole nother category. There's stuff that mediums will hear. They'll get names. We'll go in there and look up that history of that house, and there was a person by that name actually lived there. Sometimes they'll give us a name, and then later on we'll get the name come up in our equipment, and then we'll talk to the homeowner, like, yeah, that's my dad, that's my uncle. And we didn't know the name before we went there. But none of that, a lot of times, whatever the psychic's hearing or experiencing won't show up on our equipment. So it's like, you just got to take the word for it most of the time, and we don't judge anybody. And so it's like, somebody says they're talking to aliens. I'm not going to say you're not talking to aliens. I can't prove you're talking to aliens. I can't prove you're not talking to aliens. So that's why we do this, because it's very interesting to us. And, there's a lot of government cover-ups, conspiracy stuff going on, with the Area 51. You got Wright-Patterson Air Force Base. Supposedly got bodies and, all this stuff. Like, is there any truth to it? I don't know. But there's a lot of stories going around that very similar, very common. And right now in the world, there's, we had a lady on a couple of weeks ago. She's got some kind of entities just attacking her, like, every day. It's like harassment. And she's been to the doctor. She's been evaluated. They're saying she's not crazy, not schizophrenic. And she's like, I just want these things to go away. And, the priests have been in. She's had different teams in. She's prayed. She's done all kind of stuff. These things are still hanging around. And some of the teams went in and got attacked. And now we're seeing more and more of these medium, psychic, sensitive type people coming forward saying, I'm being contacted by something. And I don't know what it is, and so that's why we're trying to make awareness.
So back to kind of what the show is about tonight. Aliens are coming.
Yeah.
They're going to come see us.
Yeah.
I hope I get to see them. I think that'd be pretty awesome.
Got some interesting comments that coming in there.
Yeah, we'll share this.
Yeah,
Phil,
I don't know.
So Jackson says, Phil, what's up? I told you that I would tune in this evening. You had my leg with a full body massage you gave me on Wednesday. I can't wait to put strong hands all over my body again this weekend. Call me later, you glazed honey bun.
That almost looks like my cousin Christopher, the policeman. Oh, that's a good one.
I always thought you did remind me of a glazed honey bun.
Yeah. You just got to put me in the microwave once in a while to soften me back up.
Nail on the head. Before we get back into some of the alien videos that we do have tonight that are a little longer, So before we hit on those, we'll hit on a couple other things. Real quick. We'll do your favorite thing, Phil, as we see on your shirt.
Bigfoot.
Apparently, Bigfoot is starting to come into people's houses in the Smoky Mountains. Now, this story is circulating on TikTok, and one of my followers actually submitted it and shared it with me, and you have to hear this one. This happened between Gatlinburg and Cherokee, North Carolina, on a farm that this family had recently purchased within the last few months. So this lady said she first noticed in the barn area one day while she was out in the barn a set of huge footprints leading from the barn like back into the forest and vice versa. She had no explanation what these things were. They were too big to be a human, but she just thought a big bear. It had to be a big bear. Fast forward a few days or weeks, I'm not sure. One day she and her daughter are home alone and they're up in the attic just doing some work. So as they're just doing some work upstairs in the attic, they both hear very heavy footsteps enter the house. Too heavy to be a human, and she immediately thinks this bear has gotten into her house. So she instinctively tells her daughter just to be very quiet, do not make a noise. We're in a bad spot here. If this bear, comes up the steps, we could be in bad trouble. So as the attic door is still open, like to the downstairs, they both start kind of peeking around trying to see downstairs because they can hear these footsteps. But to her surprise, it isn't a bear that walks into view. It's a ginormous Bigfoot. She said this thing was covered in reddish brown hair from head to toe. It was built like a man, a huge man, but it was a Bigfoot. Now, if that wasn't crazy enough, just after this huge Bigfoot stepped into their vision, field of sight, she said one that was about 4 feet tall, a smaller one, walked in also. And at this point, they are going into panic mode. She's trying to tell her daughter just to be quiet. They don't want to draw attention to themselves. And they both are witnessing these two Bigfoots walk through their house. And they're just kind of growling and grunting, making noises, walking around. After a few minutes, she said the biggest one walked back like toward the door like it was going to exit. Then right behind, the smaller one coming back, but it just happened to stop like right in their field of view. At this point, both she and her daughter were looking down at this thing, and the little one stopped, and she was just terrified that this thing was going to look up and see them looking back. But she said it stood there for a few moments just looking around, but it never did like make eye contact with them, and eventually it made its way out of the house too. They waited about 30 minutes or so. Then she and her daughter, they just made a run for it. They didn't hear any other noises. She grabbed her car keys, they ran to the car, and they got out of there. She wasn't a believer in Bigfoot, at least not until this happened. And the guy who I heard this from said that she had took pictures. There was like muddy footprints on the porch, and she hadn't shared them with him yet. But she supposedly does have pictures of that. This is the first case I've heard of a Bigfoot going into a person's house. If you ever heard of anything like this, let me know in the comments. She said they'd only been there a few months and had no reason to have like trail cameras up, but they would probably put them up now. Who wouldn't? If you have any stories like this, any Bigfoot, Dogman, Mothman, ghost stories, my email is listed in my bio. I'd love to hear it. You guys have a great day. God bless.
That's pretty scary,
Bigfoot
man.
in the house.
I've heard of them going into abandoned houses, but maybe they thought it was abandoned because nobody'd been there in a while. But man, I've never heard of them coming in the house with somebody, people in the house. I've seen them, a lot of evidence of them, peeking in the windows and, knocking on the house, throwing rocks at the house, but never like coming on in like, hey, I'm home. I don't know what would have happened if they would have made a noise. Or a lot of people go missing in these national parks. They just get snatched up.
Maybe that big guy was just looking for a hug.
Maybe. Looking for some snacks.
What does a Bigfoot eat?
I've been told they follow the harvest of the wild fruit and plums. Like plums, for instance, is one the thing they eat, and as they ripen, then they'll follow the plums, and then when they go further south, they kind of migrate and follow certain fruits and nuts and different things that the herbivores. But I also heard they eat deer too. Like they take a deer and whack them against a tree, and the only thing they eat's the liver. They find these deers with their livers removed. The deer's just been like ripped open and the liver gone. And then they've done studies to figure out an animal that size could live on deer liver. But it's just kind of weird. You find this, you hear knocking on the trees, and then you hear knocking on the other side of the woods, and then next thing you know, these deer running across, and then the guy goes out there and finds a deer that's been neck broke and his cavity ripped open, and the liver is the only thing removed. Like they don't eat the rest of the deer; they just take the liver. So those are some different things they think they eat.
Well, here's another. This is some trail cam footage of a Bigfoot.
This exclusive trail cam video has only been seen by around 200 people, and it's one of the most terrifying yet. A trail camera mounted in the woods right off the forest path catches sight of an unknown creature, one of the most disturbing looking creatures ever. The creature is freakishly tall, and it doesn't move like anything we've ever seen before. It has an extremely long head and neck, and it seems to be ducking down and crouching strangely. It's bipedal, but it bounces as it walks, nothing like the gait of a human. Comparing the unknown creature to the trees surrounding, experts estimate its height to be around 9 feet. Slowing the footage down here, just look at it and the way it moves. It's excessively skinny, but its head is giant. What could this horrifying looking being possibly be? Usually commenters come up with theories for these videos, but this one didn't really have any theories. We're all just completely perplexed. All we know is it's not a creature of this world.
So, Vinny's theory, man in a bunny costume.
I'm thinking guy in one of those costumes where he gets in the bottom of it, and then it's a lot taller than him. And when he's walking, that thing has all that mass on the top, and it's bouncing like that when he walks. And because I've seen stuff like that at Scream Parks when the guy walks around, and he's doing his normal gait, but that thing's like bobbing up in the air. You know, and then he'll come around and the eyes light up and all that. I think it's a costume.
Patrick said it looked like the Grinch creeping around.
It could be the Grinch.
I'd say definitely if they didn't set that up, somebody found that trail cam and was messing with us.
Yeah, because the lights were doing funny stuff. Like at the beginning of it, they would get bright and dim, bright and dim, bright and dim. I don't know if trail cams do that. And then
I vision ones will. And so if it's picking up shadows and stuff like that, it's gonna spit up the
trying to
infrared.
focus.
Yep. So yeah, you'll see that. You'll see different trail cams. Your higher end trail cams will do that.
The other thing, I think they just played a bunch of special effects because I heard like an elk whistle.
Yeah, I'm gonna say that one. That one didn't really look too credible.
I'm calling BS on that one.
We got another one. We'll just bring another hit back on another trail cam video.
Oh,
Check this video out, y'all. This is more clear footage of a Sasquatch recorded by a trail cam. As you can see, it kind of looks like a big ball of hair. But that's a legit Sasquatch, you guys. Looks to be around 9 through 10 feet tall. And he also has like a gray patch under his beard. Check him out. Amazing creature.
Totally gorilla, man.
I was gonna say if that was Africa, I'd call it a gorilla, but it looked like Pacific Northwest with the trees. They don't have them kind of trees in Africa, so I'm thinking maybe it was a bear, but it was kind of moving like a silverback gorilla or something.
Right, that's what it looked like. Because you've seen videos and stuff where they sit down. He's just sitting down, just doing a little rock, doing a little rock.
Do they have a zoo anywhere in Pacific Northwest or California that would have those kind of trees in it, in a zoo exhibit, a gorilla exhibit, maybe?
Every zoo's got a gorilla exhibit.
Most of them try to look like where they come from, though, don't they? Like they're like big rocks, and they'll have like tires for them to swing on and stuff. It looked like a gorilla to me.
That's what I think. So we'll check this out. It's a little bit longer, but of course, my favorite thing that I love and want to dive in deeper in learning and exploring it.
So it's over in Land Between the Lakes. That's a place I've been going since the late 80s. Hunting and fishing has always been a big part of my life. I'm thankful that my wife and my children enjoy it also. So we purchased a pretty nice little fishing boat in 2018 and had been fishing a couple years. We had just had our infant daughter. I guess she was maybe 6 months old. And COVID had hit. So my wife had not really been out. I'd been out a little. So on May 10th, we go out to Land Between the Lakes. It was actually our second day in a row. May 9th was a wonderful, warm, it's springtime, so you get a warm day, and then around here you get a cold day. So we'd had a great day on the Saturday. On Sunday, it was cooler. The wind was blowing. We couldn't get out on the main lake in the boat, so we went to a little secluded place. And what we liked to do was fish a little, maybe jump out on the bank, cook some hot dogs, fish a little more, and then go home. So this spot was down a 2-mile road. No, we didn't meet anybody or see anybody on the way down there. When we got down there, the boat ramp was actually closed, I guess, for COVID. And now this is the federal government runs it, but I put my boat in a little spot where it looks like they've been putting kayaks in. So I was able to get my boat down and in, and we quickly discovered it wasn't going to be a great boating or fishing day. But we had the hot dogs, so we just said, let's go ahead and pull up. And we found a tiny little spot where there was some banks. So I built a campfire, and my oldest daughter, had my 16-year-old daughter. My daughter was 4 at the time, and then our infant daughter, and then my wife. And while I was cooking the fire, I heard some people walking, what I thought were people walking. And there's a hiking trail about a mile from there that runs the whole length of LBL. It's called the North-South Trail. So they would have been off track, but I kind of thought maybe people are just out. So I asked the girls, though, to watch, because my back was to the ridge. There's a little ridge we were at the base of. And anyway, we cooked our hot dogs and got those eaten. And my daughter asked me, my oldest daughter said, what do you think happened to those people? And I said, I don't hear them anymore. They probably just saw we were down here, smelled the smoke. I don't know. But as I was about to push the boat off of a rock and a little tree there I had it tied up to, we heard a knock. A tree knock, like we've heard on all these shows, and they all looked up, and my daughter said, "What was that?" And I'm joking at the time. Now I've been in the woods my whole life, and I don't think people are lying about their encounters, but I'm that guy. I've got to see it to believe it, And I looked down, and there was a stick. I don't know if you experienced it. Beavers chew the bark off sticks, and they'll leave. And they make good walking sticks if you've got one that's big enough. So there was a little one down there. I knew it would be a good hard stick. So I joked, they say Bigfoot does that. I picked this stick up and I hit this little tree. And immediately from about 100 yards down the bank in another spot, we hear another knock. And so now, they look at me, and I'm just, guys, it's kids messing with us. It's just people out. Everybody was out. Nobody was working or going to school or whatever. So instead of going to the other side of the lake where we were going to try to fish, I decided, let's go down the bank. There was a little cove there. Let's go in there and just see what's over there. And it was not full bloom yet. It was green. There was some foliage, but there was a burst of sun coming through on the side of the hill that was just really noticeable in one open spot. And I'm looking up there, and there was a Bigfoot standing there. And I'm a Christian and I try to live right and do things right. I don't curse a lot, but I just say, holy, there's Bigfoot. And when I said that, it's almost like it hurt me. Now, let me add, after this, in an effort to try to understand and come to grips with this, I contacted the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Organization, a guy named Charlie Raymond, and they helped me out a bunch. Actually came out and did a follow-up. And in that, he did a range find. I was about 60 yards away at this time. And so when I said that, it kind of backed up. And I needed to turn the boat because I'm pointing. I want my wife to see it. And it starts running the opposite way. Well, when I turned my boat that way to actually spin her to where she could see it, then it comes back down and it comes down a little gully. And at that time, we were about 30 yards away. And I saw its hand. And at the time, I thought it had pulled itself up by a tree because there was some trees shaking. But we've determined later, we think what happened is there was two of them. And I got between them with the communication. And so we think the other one was shaking the tree to tell the other one to come on, let's get out of here. Anyway, it ran off, and I kind of let the boat drift down the bank and had to gather myself. And my ears ring all the time. It's called tinnitus. I don't hear a lot with a lot of background noise. And I had actually, the fisherman in me, I'm like, well, let's just go over to the other side at least. I don't know if I would have fished anymore or not, but I didn't really want to leave. But this was shocking. As I hit the engine, my wife and my oldest daughter looked at each other, and you could just see their faces change. And they said to each other, that was a growl. Did you hear that growl? Did you hear that? And they're yelling at me to get out of here. At that time, we were in the back of the cove, and it was probably 60 or 70 yards to our trailer, but you could see the path where something here could have walked around and gotten to where our truck was. And my wife was genuinely scared. They heard this. They said it was a frustrated, guttural. It probably sounded just like the engine. It was like, I did not hear that, but they were really scared. So we just loaded up and got out of there. And I say this line. I tell people I've never looked at the woods the same way now.
It's a really incredible.
That was pretty wild. Land between the lakes, come on.
Yeah, you get, so like a lot of those conversations talking about land between the lakes, the theory process goes through the interdimensional travel. These things are coming from different dimensions. That's how we get, just the brief stances of them and stuff. They're not seen, often. Or sometimes they seem transparent, translucent, as maybe they're crossing back into that dimension, which kind of ties into. So, like you said, these psychics are saying that these aliens and stuff are supposed to come here because we're about to move or things that are about to happen with the last effort to help us as a society. Which, strangely enough, didn't CERN just do another test a couple weeks ago? Or
I'm not sure about that one.
CERN fired up though, and they did it. They had done the molecule test again, and even faster than they did before.
I know they're working on different ways to get energy out of subatomic particles, and I know there's several different scientists working on cold fusion, and they're talking about putting a new type of nuclear power plant like out in the desert and having it like a mile deep in the ground, the reactor, and if there's ever an accident or anything, they just fill it full of concrete and seal it off. They're trying to make them safer that way that, if anything happens, so instead of having like a Chernobyl event, you just fill it full of concrete. My thoughts were, why can't you just put one out in the ocean? Because water is a natural shield for radiation. That's why a lot of your reactors have the containment building, and the reactor will be down below, 20, 30 feet of water or whatever. Then some of your submarines have a water. The old ones had lead, but a lot of the newer ones have a water shield. So once you put so many feet of water between you and the reactor, it's a natural radiation shields. So I was like, why can't we just put them out in the ocean? If something goes wrong, just deep six it, and then there'd be enough water around it to keep the radiation. But I think
funny about the ocean and stuff. I didn't put any on here, but I'd seen some videos when I was looking through today about these creatures that they're finding in the ocean. You seen anything popping up about that recently, or you, or
not in a while, but I think what they're worried about, like Fukushima, for instance, it's just leaking radiation, and that's going out in the environment. But if it's contained and you have water around it, the water will be a natural shield. But I think what they're more worried about is it just you just got radiation just flowing.
What do you think? What do you think these things are that we're getting pictures and stuff of? That they're finding in the ocean, Mariana Trench and stuff like that. Like these are submersibles and stuff that's going down and just sending videos back.
Yeah. Well, I know when we went out the trip, I didn't know. We were out in the ocean a couple weeks ago. I didn't know they had jellyfish that like glow. Like we're just like of an evening and we're looking down like, what the hell's that going by? And I'm looking at. They got these. They're kind of a fluorescent green, kind of like our background tonight, and you just see them going by, and I think that's what the dolphins eat them and the sea turtles and whatnot. But they got all kind of weird stuff in the ocean that glows, and that's has its own phosphorescence, and that some of those creatures use that as like a lure. They'll stick a little tentacle out in front of them, and it looks like a little glowing creature. And then the fish comes in to eat the little creature, and then they snatch him up. Just like those alligator snapping turtles got a tongue that look like a worm, and they'll get out there and they wiggle that tongue, and then the fish come in to eat the worm, and they snatch them up.
To answer a question that had come through in the comments there, that we would like to say hardly, no, Chewbacca was not a Bigfoot. He was a Wookiee.
But could a Wookiee be a Bigfoot?
No.
Like we call it Bigfoot, the Indians call it Sasquatch. What if another culture called it a Wookiee?
I wouldn't classify because they're a Wookiee, but fits the description.
But George Lucas had to get that idea from somewhere. If you go out to the Olympic Peninsula out in Washington, everywhere you go looks like indoor on Jedi. It is, and it looks. I think they even filmed some of it there. It looks. The whole environment looks like where the little Ewoks live. Or like, are Ewoks miniature? Like, were the Ewoks meant to be like dwarf Wookiees or dwarf Bigfoots? They all seem to get along pretty good. They kind of look like teddy bears, But I don't know. I'm thinking. I
don't know what they were based off of. I mean, the whole reason they were put in Star Wars was to commercialize toy sales.
I went to the CryptidCon, and there was a guy in Lexington at CryptidCon come in, and he had a full size Wookiee costume. It had all the sound effects, and he had the crossbow and everything. And he come walking down through there about 9 foot tall. It's like, okay, that I mean, if you seen that out in the woods of a night, Chewbacca would definitely look like a Bigfoot for sure.
So what you're really saying is not seeing Bigfoot, watching. They're seeing
people running around in a Wookiee costume. It's possible.
Or real Wookiee.
Well, George Lucas had to get the idea somewhere.
Yeah.
And Chewbacca's from a different planet, and it's an alien species. So,
But what if I told you that I know where he came the concept of the Wookiee from? Because I've watched the documentary on it, on the creation, different ideas. It was from the original Planet of the Apes movie.
Well, they did have a pretty big, tall orangutan on there, on the Planet of the Apes, and with the
that was his concept for making that was that there was this whole planet that That's what these giant apes lived on, and that was the original first concept for Wookiee.
Yeah, because the latest concept was a disease that they were trying to. It was some kind of virus trying to make the monkey smarter, and it backfired, and it killed off a bunch.
Oh, you're
of
talking about in the
humans,
Planet of the Apes movies?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, the new ones.
And
Yeah, they got the what was it, the A34 or whatever virus? He was starting to he was making it to cure Alzheimer's,
yeah.
and it made Caesar.
Yeah. And then that new Planet of the Apes movie, they got a Caesar wannabe. He trying to be like Caesar #2, but he's not the real Caesar. And the old school monkeys and apes, they're like, yeah, he ain't really Caesar. They had like these little medallions from the original Caesar, and there was the one orangutan still knew him, but it was pretty good.
What is his name? Maurice.
Yeah.
Maurice still followed Caesar.
Well, yeah, but I don't want to say what happens to him though. So, but the new Caesar, there's a pretty good showdown at the end with the new Caesar wannabe guy, and there's some pretty cool falconry going on there too. There's a whole tribe of apes that monkeys that had pet falcons and like these big chicken hawks, and they had them trained to help them catch fish and have food and stuff. It's pretty cool. It's a pretty good show if you're into sci-fi. But there was a lot of creatures on there that could be construed and misidentified
you see how the one
as Bigfoot.
took us in 50 different directions.
Yeah.
So in the last 2 minutes, we went from the alien invasion to Thorn to Star Wars to Wookiees to Planet of the Apes.
And they all have one thing in common. They got these creatures that look like Bigfoots. Come on.
So yeah. So let's see here. I think, just looking through what time it would be for.
I could have used a little more cowbell.
So Patrick says on here, he says that maybe Bigfoot is an alien.
There you go.
That's the full circle of things.
Oh yeah.
I think we've researched it. We've read into a lot of different things and stuff like that. And the only thing that does make logical sense to me is the interdimensional trap.
Yeah.
That's why we don't have the remains. That's why we don't come across these dead ones. And not with just Bigfoot, with just a lot of different cryptids and different things. So if we know now that there's 7 dimensions, 7 known dimensions, and we live, we're in the 4th, right? We live in the 4th? Or we're in the 3rd?
We're at 0 dimension, and then there's 4 dimensions above and below us where the spirits and different things can still communicate and come back and forth. They're one level up or down from us when they pass away, and then once you get past those 4th dimensions, that's where you get up into the higher levels, like more heavenly, or if you go down toward the evil side of it, you're more toward the demonic side, or toward the devil or whatever.
Which falls
there's
back
a lot
to
of different beliefs and religions and whatnot, but they're all kind of based on different planes of existence and different dimensional levels.
And that falls into Thorn too, as we were just talking about, because so when they first put the molecules together, when they discovered the God particle and all that stuff going on, there's a lot of events that happened after that. Like a lot of your theologists and stuff like that, and your astrophysicists, they believe that when they did that, that crossed dimensions, and that so we have had our dimension cross into another dimension. Which brought on the Mandela effect and different things like that.
Absolutely.
So I think things like that, I want it to be true.
It's kind of like that one report you were talking about where those guys went in to the building and they saw some guys running out the front of this house or whatever, and then 10 years later they're in that same house.
Oh, the grandma story.
Yeah, and then
yeah,
and then they like, and they're in that house and they run out the same door, and then like they're like, did we just see ourselves like in the future or whatever? And then there was that report out of Oklahoma where those guys were in this like an old hospital, and they were like trying to communicate with the spirit world, and they're like, okay, do you see anything? And then they're like getting this response, and they're like, do you see us? And then they're like, do you hear us knocking? And they're like, wait a minute, that's what we normally say, you know. And they're like, what year is it? And they go like 2082 or something, like in the future. And they're like, whoa. So they're thinking some of the stuff that you run into paranormal may not be a dead person from the past, because they don't have any concept of time. You could be picking up something from the future. It's coming back into our time. Like, if you think about it, you'd think you're talking to this ghost and some guy died in 1825 and it's communicating with you right now, but that guy died in 1825. He still thinks it's 1825. He may still be in 1825. Well, who's to say if we're that guy in 1825 and somebody in our time is trying to communicate, knocking on a wall and asking if we hear him and whatnot, then it could go both ways. Interdimensional travel could maybe don't have any concept of time, like a wormhole, and you go through time and it's instant. We're existing right now. 5 minutes ago we were talking about Wookiees. That's still happening 5 minutes ago, forever and ever and ever at that time period, but time keeps going in one direction. So the thing is, if you're communicating somehow, it's like that show where the guy got on the old radio and he's talking to his dad on the same old radio, and he was a fireman.
Frequency.
Yeah, same kind of thing. And like he keeps telling him like Google, you know, or Yahoo. Keeps saying Yahoo, Yahoo. And then at the end of the movie, you see his brother driving a Mercedes with Yahoo on the license plate. Like he went and invested in Yahoo because he kept selling him this, you know, invest in Yahoo or whatever it was. So, yeah, same kind of thing. Maybe time isn't affected by interdimensional travel or interdimensional communication, and you know, like maybe that Bigfoot was walking along and then he went into another dimension and he just went into a different time and he's gone. If it was Mothman, it would make sense because he could fly. So if you got big ass footprints and all of a sudden they disappear, well, he took off. He flew away. But as far as I know, there's no reports of Bigfoot flying. So how do you explain him walking across the field and the footprints just disappear in the middle of the field in the snow? They're following this thing for 3 miles and they get out there and all of a sudden, nothing. Did he go into another dimension? Did he get picked up by an aircraft, spacecraft? Did he, you know, get beamed out like, you know, Mr. Spock and get beamed somewhere else? It's like, if he could fly, it would make sense.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll check this out. You said this is somewhere you'd went, the Russian cemetery, or?
Yeah, I put one video up for my trip. I'm working on another one from Seattle, but we went to Sitka, Alaska, and this cemetery is over 200 years old. It was originally in a Russian village, and the Russians were there with the Tlingit Indians. And the one cemetery we went to, she was a princess. She was like a Tlingit Indian princess, and I think she married into a Russian sea captain, if I got it right. And we were at that cemetery just kind of doing a little investigation, and we did get one cat ball going off over by this old solid iron grave marker. I've seen a lot of different grave markers, stone, some wooden ones, but this one was like real heavy iron, like you'd see an anchor of a ship or something made out of this kind of iron, and it was pretty interesting.
Well, of course, they use iron to trap things in.
Yeah, like a fence. A lot of graves will have a iron, like wrought iron fence around it to either keep something in or keep stuff out. One of the two. A lot of your older cemeteries will have an iron fence around them for that same reason.
All right, let's check it out. Here's the Russian cemetery.
Philbilly reporting here from Sitka, Alaska. We're here at the 200-year-old Russian cemetery. I'm out here with my sister Adria there, and we come to check out some of these Russian graves up here. We got this old iron one here. This guy here is we don't know who he is. There's no name, but it's pretty cool. And then there was the princess, and who's buried here. And what did she a Inuit or a
Klingit princess.
Klingit princess.
Yeah, in local tribe, married a Russian.
Married a Russian, Klingit. And this is her grave here. Pretty cool. Got a little fence. Princess Agleda Ivanovna Makusatov, wife of captain of second rank, born 1834, died December 18th, 1862. So that's where we're at. Come on, up here at the they call it the Lutheran Cemetery, consecrated 1840. And give you a little view of Sitka here. And anyway, we're up here in Alaska. Gonna see if we can get some interesting evidence here. Then we're gonna head on over to Skagway and then on up to Juneau. Come on. This is Philbilly.
Just a little snippet from our trip there. I got a couple more. I've got some pictures I'm going to post on our Facebook page, and I had a cat ball go off 3 different times by that iron grave marker. Something else really strange that we found. Under this bush, we found a jar, and we're like, all right, what's up with the jar? So we pick up the jar, and there's a picture of a woman in the jar, and looked to be like a middle-aged, older, maybe, I don't know, I'd say maybe she was in her late 60s, early 70s. Hard to tell. The picture's kind of faded. And it said, it was a note in there, and it said, Mama, or Ma, you didn't get to go on the trip to Alaska, but you got to go now. So we think her ashes were in that jar. We think they took her up there and sprinkled her out because she died before she got to go on the trip. So we think her family took her up there, sprinkled her ashes, and there was part of a pine bow off a pine tree or spruce tree inside the jar, and they left that jar under the bush there. It was just kind of weird, you know. It's like somebody had a little testimonial, had a picture of the mom and everything in the jar, and we found that. She's like, "What do we do with this?" I'm like, "I'm thinking just leave it." But it was somebody's family had came and sprinkled her out there, we think, and that was the jar, and they left the jar behind, you know. So that was something kind of weird we found, but it was kind of a little touching sentiment to that family. But you never know what you're going to find, you know, in a cemetery. But
you're right. All right, so we got a little clip here. Let's check her out.
So there's this conspiracy theory that back in the Vietnam War, the U.S. military issued their soldiers green night vision technology. And it was a new thing that they were testing out, so they were handing them out to completely everybody. People on the ground and people up high in the planes and the helicopters. Now, supposedly with those green lens night vision goggles, they had put some kind of chemical or something in there. I can't remember the name of it. If you know, let me know down in the comments. But supposedly they put this chemical in there that is, if you were to drop these things and they were to bust and you had them on, you would ingest that chemical and you would start seeing things. So where the problem started was when the helicopter gunny busted his and he started seeing stuff. He had that chemical leaking out of there and he ingested it. And he started seeing demons apparently and just started blasting on anything and everything and everybody around. And all the other soldiers started to see the same exact thing. And then they started blasting. And there's some people out there that question whether or not there was actually a chemical involved in that they were ingesting, or if it was just a cover up and the technology that they were using was actually able to see in a different plane. You know, like as in the demons were real. The military made up a story to cover it up. I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that there was an actual chemical in there, or they were actually able to see in a different dimension? Anyways, I have found roughly the same exact technology right here. These are 4K infrared night vision goggles. And honestly, the 4K video resolution is unreal. The clarity is crazy. They were not messing around whenever they made these 4K. Check out the freaking zoom on here too. Okay, that fence right there, that gate, is about 175 yards away. If you look even further back there, those two trees, we're talking like 225 yards away, and still it stays just as clear being that far zoomed in. All right, so another cool thing, if you look up there at the top right, you'll see those red zeros right there. You can record with these, and you can take pictures as well. They gave you a 32 gigabyte memory card in the side of it, so you can take that memory card out, stick it in your laptop, transfer everything over, whatever you record. Haven't got to see any demons yet, but I have got to experience some badass technology. And I didn't have to pay that much to experience this either. They're already cheap as hell, but they have a flash sale going on right now. The thing is, though, you can get them for even cheaper if you've got the right coupons in your cart. So what I did for you was put a link down below. That way you can check it out and see what kind of discounts you can get.
Pretty wild.
Some ghost goggles.
Yeah, I've never heard of phosphorus causing you to hallucinate or see stuff like that, but that's what's in those green ones. The military has phosphorus in them, but a lot of your more modern ones use IR, and they have an IR light that illuminates stuff. And then you've got the thermal ones now too, that you can see the heat signatures and stuff way out there in the dark. Which
that was technology that we had taken from the Predator.
yeah. But I've never heard of anybody, trying to inhale phosphorus. But I know some of the tracer rounds had phosphorus in them too, so they could see them at night when they're shooting in the dark and whatnot. But
so you're on the side of they were seeing and battling demons.
I think whatever else is in those goggles besides phosphorus, I mean, that's the main ingredient in the chemical that makes it so you can see in the dark. But maybe there was some other, that and whatever other chemicals that they ingested that making them hallucinate, just like if somebody, eats one of those special mushrooms and they start seeing stuff, or they take some LSD and they start seeing stuff, same kind of thing.
So
I don't know. I'd have to research that a little more, but
I'm with that. The government just used an experimental drug on them.
That's what I was thinking. Maybe they said, "Here, take this pill. It'll help you deal with the, stress and, help keep you calm in the battle situation." And then the next thing you know, they're seeing demons and stuff.
It's out there tripping balls.
Yeah.
All right, jumping back kind of towards the alien thing. So this was just from last night.
On September 11th, 2024, an unusual event unfolded over Tianjin, China, when an unknown object hovered in the sky for hours, leading to major disruptions at Tianjin Binhai International Airport. More than 3,000 flights were canceled, delayed, or diverted, with officials attributing the situation to drone activity. However, many are questioning that explanation, pointing out that the objects remained airborne far longer than any commercial drone could. Fighter jets were scrambled, yet no further information was provided to the public.
That's pretty wild. The drone can't stay up that long.
Yeah, and if it was just drones and stuff, I mean, would they really cancel commercial flights for that?
No, not usually, I wouldn't think, but I don't know what else they would cancel a commercial flight for. Unless there's a coincidence, like their network went down or something, or they got hacked. Like when I went to Seattle, the baggage claim at Seattle Airport got hacked, and like when you go to pick up your bag, it'll say flight number such and such just arrived. Coming in baggage carousel number 7, number 3, whatever. When we got there, they were all blank, and they said they had a cyber attack. So something like that could have shut down the flights. But whatever the hell them people were seeing, I'm not sure if that's the reason they canceled the flights. It doesn't sound like a drone. It could be military, could be who knows what. Somebody pulling a prank with some balloons or something. I don't know. I know China was dropping them little balloons that go across the whole country, and then we shot down a few of them. And then there was some other stuff over Canada we shot down. We never did find out what that was. The first one, they said, oh, it's a balloon. We shot down a balloon. Then the one over Canada, they're like, we shot down a UFO. Okay, was it a balloon? No comment. We never did find out what they shot down over Canada. They didn't say it was definitely a balloon like the first one. But Chinese probably wouldn't be launching balloons on their own airport.
I wouldn't think so.
Nah.
There's a tunnel in Kingsport, Tennessee that is riddled with pure evil, and it's called the Sensabaugh Tunnel. There are 3 versions of the story as well, and I'm going to give you all 3, and the last being probably the truth. The Sensabaugh Tunnel was built on a man named Edward Sensabaugh's land, hence how it got its name. The tunnel is also located not too far away from Rutherwood Mansion. It's full of rumors of unalivings, baby unalivings, women unalivings, satanic rituals, and so on and so forth. The first version of the story is that Mr. Sensabaugh went crazy, and he took out his whole entire family, and then even his baby, and he took them down to the tunnel, and threw them in the water-covered tunnel, and they all did. And now the whole family is up in the tunnel haunting it. In version 2 of the story, Mr. Edwards was actually a really good man, and he happened upon a homeless man, and he invited him to his house to feed him and clothe him and, let him take a shower and stuff. Well, he went in to check on the man, and the homeless man was still in a blind. So, he tried to take his stuff back from the homeless man. The homeless man grabbed the baby, the poor baby, and ran out to the tunnel and drowned the baby after using it for a shield. And the third story is probably the most true and accurate out of all of them, is that Mr. Sensabaugh lived until the 1950s and had a long life, never lost a child, and that he would just sneak down there to the tunnel to scare the kids that would show up, and the teenagers, trying to hurt his tunnel. He'd scare them off, and that's where the rumors and all the stories come from. But there's got to be a little bit more to the story, because let's be honest, there is a lot of evidence that this tunnel is really haunted, and it's been taken over by demons, and here's what happens. Due to all the satanic rituals that took place there, it's said that you can go down there and hear screaming of women and children and babies. You can also hear someone running down the tunnel. You can see the footprints of the people running through the tunnel, see the splashing. It's also said that if you park your car in the tunnel and you shut it off, it ain't gonna turn back on. And sometimes if you look in your back seat through your rearview mirror, you'll see a manifestation of a woman in the back seat. This is a nationally known haunted tunnel and is known to be one of the most haunted places in America. The question is, do you really want to find out if it is?
So to answer her question, yes, I do. So I say we should try to go there.
4 hours away. Kingsport, Tennessee, the Sensabaugh Tunnel, come on.
Yeah, maybe we should try to go check it out.
Yeah, I have to look it up and see if there's access, or you got to get permission. Because I know the Boone Tunnel up here in Kentucky, you got to get permission from the property owners, and it's a whole deal.
What's the story with that tunnel?
I haven't really researched it a whole lot, other than it's not being used anymore. But I believe you got to go on private property to get to it. So I haven't heard of anybody having any evidence or anything from there. But then you got the mushroom mines over there that a lot of people won't go in them anymore because they found a couple dead in there, and they're finding animals sacrificed over there and all kind of crazy stuff going on in that the abandoned mushroom mine. It's over past Lexington over there. And I didn't go, but there was another team I know went, and right when they got there, they seen people in like hoods, like dark cloaks, walking around in there. They had some weird lights clicking off and on at the end of one of the tunnels, and then when they got ready to leave, they come out by the car. There was a raccoon with its head cut off. I think some other animal with its head cut off, laying out by the car. And so they're like, "We're out of here." They left.
That happened to a group that you know?
Yeah, over at Mushroom Mine, they call it. They used to grow mushrooms down there after it was a limestone mine, and then they don't grow mushrooms there anymore, and then now it's just all kind of weird stuff and people hanging out in there. We don't know if they're cooking stuff in there or what, but there was a young couple went in there to kind of do like some exploration, and they found them dead in there.
They found the couple dead in there?
Yeah. It's not the type of place you want to go unless you got a big group and everybody packing, and you need to have pretty good security out by where you're parking your cars and stuff too. Some of
So
it's
you're saying
probably
you
just,
don't want to go there?
I wouldn't go there with a small group or by myself. No, I'd go because you got to be sensible about stuff like that. There's a lot of shady stuff going on. You want to think about that before you go. They were only 4 of them going, and I told them I wasn't going because they didn't have enough people, and they didn't have enough people with protection. So you need enough guys with bullets, something like that.
Right.
You get in there with 4 people, and you get in there and turn a corner, and there's 20 people coming at you. And then you go out, and then it's like time to leave, and then you get out by your car, and there's dead animals with their heads cut off. It's like, maybe we should just go somewhere to a cemetery where it's safe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, those mustard mines they're no joke. I told those guys, I tried to warn them, and they went anyway, and they didn't stay very long. There were 3 other paranormal groups there that night. They all left too. Everybody ended up leaving for the similar reasons. And I don't think they were dealing with spirits, or I think they were dealing with real live people, which to me are scarier than any ghost I've ever ran across. You run into a ghost, big deal, but you walk into somebody cooking meth or has a grow operation or something like that going on and out in the middle of the woods or out somewhere, then it's going to be a different situation.
I don't know. You're intriguing me. All right. Well, I mean, what is? There's quite a few investigators and stuff. What do they always say? They say it's not really the ghosts and stuff that scare them; it's the people,
right?
The live people.
Yep. Yeah, somewhere like that, you probably want to have a collaboration and have several teams with enough people there and enough security out by your vehicles and enough people who are trained in first aid, CPR, and people packing some firearms and whatever else. It's a lot of what we do is it's not always the safest thing. There's stuff you can run into crazy people out in the cemetery. You can trip over something and get hurt, or you can, fall in a hole, or, or something to get attached to you and bring it home with you. And so you got to think about all that before you go in. It's not for everybody. It's not like going to the park and coming back because you don't know what you're going to run into. Especially the more highly active areas usually attract more, I call them paranormal sightseers. You go to like Casey Cemetery, for instance, on a Saturday night, it's nothing to run into 2 or 3 other groups or just random people showing up out there for a thrill, Most of them are pretty harmless. They're just out there because they're interested in paranormal. But then you have some other people out there who may have other intentions.
Absolutely. So we'll jump back. We got about 20 minutes left, so we'll jump back. We'll show. So here's an alien encounter. So it's footage of an encounter. Going back to our alien talk.
Alrighty, so we're going to share some video. It's a compilation of a few videos that I recorded when we were on the beach that night of some stuff that we saw. We don't know what it was. UFO, maybe something else. We're not sure, but just watch it, and we're not even going to talk over it. Just listen to whatever I'm saying in the videos, because it's just my pure, genuine reaction to what's happening when I saw it. And we're just going to share that. You can notice the sky, how it looks so staticky, or whatever you want to call it. I don't know how to explain it other than that, but you can see that. We have other pictures and videos at night, and the sky never looked like that. So that was just weird. And just see what some of what we saw that night. We unfortunately didn't capture all of it, but some of those things we were able to. So here's just some of it, and then we're going to make another video answering some questions. Yeah. So thank you for watching. Like, I'm not moving my phone and it's bouncing all over the place. That one over there? Look how much higher it is now than it was. Look at it, it's about to go off my screen. And it's bouncing up and down. Oh, it just bounced. It's gone. Look at it. It's about to be off the screen again. Oh my god. Yeah, it was just rolling that one, and that one's moving all over the place too. I'm not moving my phone, and it's coming to the edge. It's moving slower than the other one, but it's bouncing all over the place, and it's coming towards the left side of my screen now, so it keeps moving. I just moved my screen over, and it was on the far right side of the screen, and now it's already in the middle. It's moving real slow left, and it's like bouncing up and down. I know. Yeah, it was all the way in front of us. Stars don't move like that.
No.
Okay, I moved it again. So now it's on the right side of my screen, but look at it moving. Can you see it on my screen, or is it too far back?
No, I can see it.
Look, it's going up higher. Now it's going down. See it bouncing?
Yeah.
I'm not moving. It's all the way on the left side of my screen now. Oh my god. I literally was zoomed into it, and it was weird as shit looking, and it zoomed out.
It zoomed like that?
Yeah, it zoomed out. I didn't even touch it.
Oh, it's zooming in all by itself. Look how big it got on my screen. I did not do that. Yeah, it's recording. I wasn't touching my screen or anything. It just got massive. What, babe? What? And this thing is moving out of my screen. Look.
It looks like
Why did it? Did you saw it zoom in, right? Oh, look at that. And it's blinking. Every time I zoom into it now, babe, I unzoomed and zoomed back in. Oh, shit. Look at it, look at it. I'm not doing anything and it's getting bigger.
I see your dog's phone.
And it's going off my screen. It's gone.
It zoomed out, then it zoomed in.
Yeah. I'm gonna zoom out. I'm gonna zoom back into it. See, it stays small. Even when I'm zoomed in far, it stays small. But then all of a sudden, it just gets bigger. Oh, now it's not getting bigger, but look at it moving. Oh, look! Do you see that? Babe. Oh my god. Oh my god.
What?
Can you still see it? Okay, you
I
can still see it.
Yeah.
It literally puffed itself up again. But this one, I can't move my phone because it has to be, it literally, on my video, almost looks invisible. It puffed itself up and it's blending into the color of the sky.
Seriously?
Yeah. Oh my god, and when I zoom out, my screen's completely black.
Is it?
It's not picking up anything now.
You can't see it?
It's not picking up anything.
I think
That's
those
pretty
two were smoking a little bit of the wacky weed that night.
I don't know. At first, I thought maybe it was a group of drones, and like they would shut one off and turn another one on, shut the lights off on that one and turn another one on. It's how it.
Well, did it not look like
around.
the one? Did it not look like an airplane? Because it looked like it had the fucking light flashing on the tail fin.
The one on the bottom was doing that, but that one on the top, I was like, "Is she zooming her phone in and out?" She says she's not doing that, but I don't know.
But it's doing it in steps, unless it's just an auto feature that's just trying to focus in on whatever it's seeing.
The phone's trying to focus.
Right.
Because I've seen that like of a night, my different devices will do stuff like that, especially my Nikon camera. If I'm trying to focus in on something like that, and it has trouble of a night trying to focus something far away or up close. Some of these iPhones have a portrait mode you can put on too, and it'll just focus on something close. Everything behind it will be blurry. But I don't know. I mean, there's a couple other videos on there. Some really weird stuff started happening to them, and they ended up like he was trying to get the cooler, and something was holding him back. And he couldn't get the cooler moving, like it was holding on to his cooler, and then like some other weird stuff happened, and they got the hell out of here. And some weird stuff happened to him on the way home, and then some more weird stuff happened to him after they got home. I don't know if you want to play all those. There's like 3 parts to that. It's on TikTok, but that was their actual footage they got of it that they could get. They said that last thing it wouldn't even show up on our camera. But
this is the same people.
Yeah, the same people made 3 different videos, and it's like a husband and wife, and they're just kind of freaked out about it.
We can check out one. They're like 6 minutes each.
Yeah, I had to cut one.
7 minutes long.
Yeah, one was like 15 minutes long. I had to cut it.
We'll play one.
Hey everyone, so we wanted to come on here and share about something that happened to us last night when we got home from visiting some family. We got home to our door being unlocked, both the top and bottom locks, which we know for sure were locked when we left because we have video camera footage of us locking and checking the door to make sure. And coming into our house, we noticed some fingerprints on some windows in our living room that looked like somebody was trying to
push up the window.
Windows. Other than that, there were some items that were misplaced and not where we left them, but there was nothing missing. So we don't really know what that's about, but it kind of falls in line with some other weird things that have been happening to us over the last few weeks, ever since we got back from a trip to Virginia Beach, which is another reason why we wanted to record a video, because there's stuff that happened while we were there that we just wanted to put out into the world, because it makes us both feel crazy, honestly, that we even experienced it. It sounds a little bit crazy. People are probably going to think we're nuts,
Definitely.
but something happened that night that was very strange. And the first week of July, right before 4th of July, we took a trip down to Virginia Beach. We had been there once before and we loved it because the hotel that we stayed at had a little private beach in the back that you could stay out all night. So we would chill there every night with our cooler, our chairs, and just hang out on the beach. So on our last night, we did that like we did every other night. We brought all of our stuff down to the beach to just chill before we had to leave in the morning. And we both noticed, first off, the sky looked weird. We can share like a picture of it or video. Like, it looked like the whole entire sky was covered in some sort of static, or like there was confetti all over the sky, just floating, ashes. It was really weird. So, well, whatever. We took note of it and just sat down and started hanging out. And we like to look up at the sky, look at the stars. So we were watching them, and I started noticing this star wiggling all over the place in the sky. It was moving, and I pointed it out to him, and he's looking at it, he sees it, so I start recording. And as I'm recording it, you can see it's changing colors, and it's zigzagging, wiggling, moving jaggedly everywhere. And all of a sudden, and I'm as far zoomed in as I can be on it at this point, but then all of a sudden it looks like it's just zooming in on its own on my screen. I don't think my phone was actually zooming in. Something was like happening to it that made it look like this big puff ball, and it was like orange. And watching it for a little bit, and then it just disappeared. So we're like, that's weird. What was that? And we keep watching it. We keep noticing quite a few stars that are moving jaggedly across the sky. And there were also planes in the sky too, just to note. So we saw plenty of them. We could tell the difference. Like, these were not planes. There were not lights like that on them. Like, they were not planes.
And we've even seen a bunch of low-flying helicopters too.
And planes don't move the way these things were moving. So planes are very smooth in their movements. So notice a few more of these things, record some of them, and then we're just sitting there talking, and we're saying how it feels really weird. And we're big believers in aliens, so we're like thinking maybe we're seeing some UFOs or some sort of alien activity, which is like interesting, intriguing to us. So we're like kind of excited as we're noticing all of this stuff in the sky, and we're talking, and he's like looking off behind me, and he has this like weird look on his face. And I remember asking him like, what? Because he's just looking, and he wouldn't tell me in the moment because he thought it would freak me out. But he told me after the fact that he saw something, and you can share about that.
Yeah, so when she's sitting there talking to me, and I to be honest with you, I can't even remember what she was saying because I was so tunnel visioned on what I saw. When she was sitting there, she was sitting to my left, like how she is now, and I'm looking behind her, and I see something which looked like I thought was a kid, and meanwhile this was like in the middle of the night.
Yeah, it was like 11 o'clock at night, so
and
there was no one on the beach at this point.
Yeah, like there's nobody on the beach. And I'm looking behind her, and she's talking to me, and I see what looks like a child, real small, but it definitely wasn't a kid, come out of the water, like shooting out of the water, like quick, making no sound, no splashing. And there was like these reeds or bushes behind us, and it looks like the thing, whatever it was, just shot straight into those and completely disappeared. And the thing that's weird about that is any kind of object, person, animal goes into or out of water, you're going to hear splashing. It's going to make some kind of a sound. There's going to be movement, even if you're running on the sand, anything, but there was no kind of movement. But what I saw was definitely not a kid. It wasn't a person. It was something that I can't honestly explain.
Yeah. So that was just weird. And I didn't hear about this until a little later on in the evening, but this is the way the events happen. So after that, looking at
I don't know. Guess you're seeing something out there.
Yeah, what the hell did he see? It looked like a kid jumping out the water. Come on. You might have run into some little aliens.
They said they're at Virginia Beach.
Virginia Beach. This hotel, like a little private beach area, just him and her. And
It's only that's only a few hours from us. Maybe we should go check that out.
I bet they got some good seafood down there. Maybe hit a seafood buffet on the way or back. That'd make it worth the trip right there.
Yeah.
Go see some aliens and get some seafood. Sounds like a win-win.
Well, I'm definitely going to be keeping up with, I guess, through tomorrow and see if I see anybody talking about seeing these aliens that are supposed to be visiting us in the next 2 days.
I'll be out watching for them. I saw something this morning at 3:30 a.m., but I think it was Jupiter.
Definitely probably Jupiter.
Yeah.
All right. You got anything else tonight? We'll probably cut it with that.
No, just I just want to give one of our guests tonight. He was going to come on, and his uncle had passed. That's why he canceled. And then my uncle passed a week ago too. He had been battling cancer for a while. So shout out to everybody who's lost an uncle in the last week due to cancer. Cancer sucks. I really believe there's cures out there for it, but for some reason they want to keep making money off of it, keep it going. They don't make any money off healthy people. So
Big pharma, man.
My own theories about that, but cancer definitely does suck, and just want to give a couple shout outs out there to people who are dealing with that tonight. And that's about all I got. We're going to try to get out there probably November. Be our next big expedition. We're going to maybe go do the Land Between the Lakes. So I'm going to be busy September and October running some hay rides, and I know you got some band stuff going on. But definitely November, we're probably going to be doing a lot. We're going to we'll do our podcast every week. We're going to still keep up with that. But that's all I got going on. So,
and anybody out there, if anybody, you got something going on in your house, you think you see something, you hear something, give us a call. We'll come out and look at it.
Absolutely. We don't charge anything, and we keep everything private. If you want to keep it private, if you want us to go live, we'll go live. You want us to talk about it on a show, you want to come on the show and talk about it, we welcome guests anytime. We like to have callers call in. We're pretty open to that kind of thing.
And definitely, I'm looking forward to being back in the studio next week.
Absolutely. Well, I don't have anything unless you do, Vinny. So I don't appreciate everybody tuning in, and y'all have a good week. Come on.